Right guys, so today we're gonna talk about the top tips which I knew as a beginner guitarist, and hopefully they're gonna help you if you are currently a beginner guitarist. Now, if you are a beginner guitarist, I'm really interested in knowing what you think about these tips, and if you're not a beginner guitarist and you are reflecting on when you were a beginner guitarist, please let me know in the comments below if I missed any tip that you would like to give and pass on to other fellow beginner guitarists. Now, the number one is keep your guitar out of the case. You can probably see some of my guitars behind me, and the reason why it is so important is because if you have your guitar around, there is more of a chance that you will just grab it and play it, even if you've got just 5-10 minutes to practice or to play a song. Now, you might have heard that if you keep your guitars out of the case for too long, you might find, dust on the strings and all that kind of stuff, but this doesn't matter. It is actually way better if you restring the guitar more often and you clean it more often, but at the same time, the reason why you have to clean it more often is because you've actually played it more often. In my case, as I said, I've got guitars behind me and I also have a guitar in my living room. I've got guitars pretty much everywhere in the house so that I know that as soon as I have 5 spare minutes, wherever I am, there is always a guitar around. If I've got an idea, something that I want to test and try on my guitar, or I want to quickly write something down, take a note or anything for one of my next videos or lessons, I can do it wherever I am. Right, number 2 is not going to be a big surprise. It's something that I recently mentioned in another video that I made, and it's timing. Guys, it's really important that you start working with the metronome, practicing with the metronome and working on your timing from the very beginning, even if you are a real complete beginner on guitar. But working on the timing is something that goes beyond just using a metronome when you practice. It is really important that, for example, you start learning from the very beginning to tap your foot with the metronome when you practice, or even if you're playing a song without the metronome, make sure that you tap your foot to keep the correct timing, and maybe think about the way you can count the beats when you listen to a song, whether you're playing it or whether you're just listening to it. And then number 3 is ear training. Guys, you don't have to start transcribing super fast shredding solos if you are a complete beginner, of course, but it's really important that you start working on your ear training skills. You start recognizing at least rhythms and melodies from the very beginning. You don't rely too much on the information that you find on the internet. I'm referring to like lyrics and chords on top or tabs, because they may be right, but they may also be wrong, and very often they are wrong and they have mistakes. And the best thing, the best feeling is when you can correct those mistakes by yourself, because your ears are telling you that that note is wrong and you know which one is right. So start working on it, because even if you don't have a great ear when you start, this is something that you can actually train. And number 4 is learn songs from start to finish. In my experience as a guitar teacher, I see so many students that know how to play chord progressions and riffs and parts of songs, but then if they have to perform that song or play it with some friends, they can't actually do that because they don't know the whole song, and that's not so good. So yeah, make sure that when you learn a song, you actually learn the whole song, okay, from start to finish. Best way to practice this, play along to the song. Now, number 5 is particularly for young guitarists. Be open, be curious. Don't learn only one genre. Don't learn to play guitar just to play, a specific style that you may like. Be open to learn new music, learn different styles, because you will find beautiful things in any style. I really genuinely enjoy playing every genre. And even when you progress, if you are more experienced, you become more of an intermediate player and so on. Remain a student and ask questions. Try to find out how things work in more advanced stuff. Now, number 6, this is probably one of the most important, so take a note about this. Consistency. It's not very much about practicing once a week, once every fortnight for 3-4 hours in a row. It is more about building a consistency. Make it as easy as possible to follow in your daily schedule, and remember that even if it's only for those 5 minutes, consistency is key. Now, number 7, buying new gear will not make you a better player. It's not gonna suddenly solve all of your players' issues. And connected to this, number 8, learn home recording. Because something where it is actually worth investing as a beginner guitarist is not really getting fancy gear, but just start understanding and learning how to record yourself at home. Okay, this is something that now anybody can do with a really small budget. And obviously this allows you to listen back to what you played, understand your tone, your sound, your timing, and obviously identify the areas where you can still improve and you want to work on. Number 9, learn as much music notation as possible. I know this may sound controversial. I don't mean learn how to read music, not at the very beginning at least, but I mean if you want to speed up your song learning process, you need to learn how to take notes to remember the songs that you learn. That could be in any kind of notation. Yes, it could be a tab. It could also be just slash notation of the length of the chords. So, you know, your bars with the slashes within the bars and the chords on top of the slashes to know how many beats you have to count per chord. Any notation is good, and you can keep learning more and more notation the more advanced you get. We're now approaching the final few tips for today. The number 10 is learn all of the notes on the fretboard. I know that this takes time, it's not something that you're gonna learn in a few weeks, but start working on it even if you are a beginner guitarist. It's really, really important to know that you're not playing numbers, you're playing notes. So learn how they're called. Because if you ask to any other musician that plays a different instrument, piano, sax, trumpet, they always know what notes they're playing. They don't say I'm playing 5/8, 5/8, you know, they say I'm playing E, G, A, C, for example. Now let's get to the number 11, okay? So if I use this tool on guitar, which is a capo, as you know, for instance, now I'm using capo 5, okay? It's absolutely fine to say I'm using capo 5 and I'm playing the 3rd fret, or I'm playing G on the top string, on the E string with capo 5. But learn also the real names of those notes when using the capo. So you should know that although you say 3rd fret capo 5 or you say G capo 5, especially if you refer to a chord, the real name of that chord is actually C. Because if you take off your capo, you're actually playing, you know, the note C as the root. You're playing everything higher than it looks like, okay? So learn that, because it's really important if you have to communicate with other musicians that don't play guitar. You can't tell them, oh, I'm playing a G capo 5. You have to say, I'm playing a C. And it's also really helpful for transposing keys. Now, number 12 is music theory is easier than you think, it's easier than it looks like, and it's never too early to start learning some music theory. Now, you don't have to master really advanced concepts to start learning to play guitar, okay? Of course. But a basic understanding of music theory is really crucial when you start playing guitar. It's gonna actually make you progress more quickly. And if you're interested in that, you can find a free course, Music Theory for Guitarists, link in the description below, made by 20 live streaming lessons here on my YouTube channel. You can start from there. Right guys, we are at the end of this list. This is the final tip for today, and it's the tip number 13, and it's film yourself when you play. Now, everybody these days has one of these phones, right? And I can tell you that they really make high quality videos and also good quality audio, I must say. So you've got no excuses. When you practice, when you learn a song, you can film yourself, and if you watch back the recording, you're gonna learn so much about your playing, okay? You can learn so much about the things that you can still work on and fix just by watching back your recordings that you made with your phone. Absolutely free and really helpful, okay? Especially as a beginner guitarist, but I would suggest this to anybody. Right guys, once more, if I forgot to mention anything, please let me know that in the comments below, and if you want to support this channel, you can do so on my Patreon page. Thanks for watching and have a great day.